Mr Chandramohan is the Director and Group President, Corporate Affairs at TAFE, Tractors and Farm Equipment Limited, Chennai. A finance leader with over 3 decades of experience, he joined TAFE in 1999 and played a pivotal role in the company's major acquisitions, including the Eicher tractor, engine and gears businesses. He also previously served as Chairman and Vice Chairman of Confederation of Indian Industries, Tamil Nadu, and Vice Chairman of Confederation of Indian Industries, Chennai Zone. An ardent and humble devotee, his association with Bhagawan dates back to the 1990s.
Sairam, first of all, reverential pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagawan. Many thanks, of course, to our beloved Bhagawan and to the Radio Sai for giving me this opportunity. My father is a great devotee. He has been coming here he had been coming here for a long time. He's no more there now. And he would have been serving here. I think he would have come and served at least till when he was 84, 85, used to come regularly. I think in the year 1997, if I remember correctly, somebody in my colleague, at the time I was working in Bangalore, one of my colleagues, he called me, look, can you come? I said, okay, fine, I'll go and meet. Why can't I come? I said, I've heard about him, I've read about him. So I, very, of course, here and there. And to my surprise, first time when I actually went there, Swami came very near to me. And I could see, believe me when I say this, I could see a very strong glow from his face, which I can't even fathom even now. Very strong glow, I felt it. When I asked my colleague later on, he said he didn't see that. But he came very near to me. First time I'm going, he came very near to me. Then my colleague came and said, look, when he comes so near to you, you are supposed to take Pada Namaskar, which I was not aware, honestly. So I was extremely disappointed. I felt, oh my goodness, I missed a rare golden opportunity. But that's all, you missed the opportunity, that's it. Afterwards, I used to come to Puttaparthi and all that, and I've never had interacted with Swami like all of you or my boss and all that. I've never had any interaction with him. But then in 2009, when he visited our factory to Madurai, of course, all of us went from Chennai. There was one exclusive room organized for the family members. My boss was extremely kind to actually call two of us, I think, 2 or 3 of us. And if I'm allowed to use, she introduced us to Swami. One of the person was me. Even now, extremely grateful to that, because otherwise for that I would have never had interacted with God, personally. And it was a very blissful experience, I can tell you. And when I took Pada Namaskar from him, of course, I didn't know whether I touched his feet. Even now, I don't remember, because I was so, what can I say, in a blissful mood at that time. I only heard the word Swami said, of course she said, he's a CFO of the company and all, etc. At the time I was a group CFO, and she introduced me like that. And then Swami said, in Tamil, he said, Romba Sandosham. So I was very happy, because he said, he was very happy. So, but then when he said something, everybody laughed in the room. All the family members laughed. So I was very curious, but at that time, I couldn't ask them, because, it was very close to Swami. They were all very close to Swami. So, I just left the room and came out. So I was in a very blissful mood on that day, because first time I had interacted with him, and he said, he was very happy to see me, and also I was in a thrilling mood. But still, it was actually going through my mind, why did the people all laugh? So I asked my boss, look, why did you all laugh? Then she told me, look, Mohan, when I introduced you to Swami, we all told that, look, you are a great devotee and all. Then Swami said, please check with him, is he a devotee? Okay, this is what Swami had told them. And I heard this, it started ringing in my head. Why did Swami say this? It was really disturbing me, to be very honest with you, because that was the only interaction, though I only heard the last word, not before that, the sentences, whatever he spoke. Then I realized it, that I was only going to Bhajan and doing something and all that, Namaskar, and then coming back, but I was not doing any service. So that was the time it hit me that, Swami wants me to do some service also. This is not the way to just go and sing some bhajans and then come back. So it really hit me that probably that's why Swami has told me like this. So I think, I don't know whether I remember 2010 immediately, because 2009, we took up, I took the development of some 3 villages, which was some 60 kilometers I would say, maybe 50-60 kilometers from Chennai. Each village would have some maybe 40-50 hamlets and all that. We went through that, and then I realized it, that basically, education is required. Some of them were actually in one of the villages, it is called Arundhati, it's a very backward village. That's why it's called Arundhati Palayam, which means in English the most backward village. It's called, even the people there, were not very comfortable using that name. And, I saw some children, basically taking the cigarettes which were lying on the road, smoking and all that, and then the beer bottles they were playing. So it was very bad shape. So we went through that, and then every parent, in that village said, that look, we want education. We want these people to be educated. They're going to the school, but they're not studying. So Swami helped us to start this school in that particular place. Then later on, we extended to the two nearby villages. Touchwood, this has been going on for the past, I would say, it is maybe, you can imagine 2010 and now it's almost 15 years and all that. It's very difficult to get teachers in those type of places because, you won't get educated people there. And, parents will not allow them to send, basically anybody, even if it is 2-3 kilometers, because the lighting facility will not be good, etc. And therefore, it's very difficult to get that. But I think thanks to Swami, we were able to get that teacher. They started in that particular village, people started coming. And particularly, the ladies were not allowed to study after the schooling. They will stop. They'll get them married and send them out. So I had to go and convince them and say that, look, hey, you have to allow them to study further. It was very tough for us to convince, but with the great difficulty, we convinced 2 girls. So they were put actually into nursing. And very reluctantly they were going because the parents were, very, very reluctant to send them out. After some time, they came and told, look, sir, we are not able to study because all taught in English and we can't understand. Because, the communication levels are, not so great, even though we have taught them, communication and all that, but still, you can understand. In village, it's not so easy. So I was worried what to do. So again went to the parents, convinced them that, look, we have to shift them to the hostel. Imagine, the girls who are not coming out of the village, we would put them in, higher education or nursing, and we have to put them in hostel now. They were all, basically some porters working in some tea shop as vendors. Very, very poor people, that in and around those places, they can't simply afford anything. Even, to get the school fee paying itself is very difficult for them. When we shifted to the hostel, these girls started studying because they were able to borrow, they were able to, really get the, help of their colleagues and all that. And mind you, they completed the nursing. They passed out very nicely. One lady, of course, got married and went away to some other place. The other girl, we spoke to Shankar Netralaya, and, she got the job. She got the job and she is doing phenomenally well now. So, mind you, from a place where, children were not studying, to make them come up in life like this was a very touching experience. And today in this village, I can tell you, thanks to Swami, some 15 people are educated, meaning they have studied either engineering, they've studied MBA. One person has studied MBA. In fact, when he got married, he said, look, sir, you have to come, and because but for you, I would have never studied this MBA and all that. And he's working in, I think, Amazon. He said, look, sir, I'll get regularized after 1 year, sir, but this is the job I got. And today, some have finished engineering, some have finished, let's say some computer science and all that, and most of them are employed. And what has actually enabled this type of education, the remaining 2 schools we started, and even in this village, which tuition is still continuing, they're all now today wanting to study, and then they all want to go higher studies. So our job is done now. Because, to my mind, you can give them food, you can give them dress, you can even, paying them fees and all that is fine. Because, otherwise they can't, definitely afford. Several of them, for example, college, they would like to say, look, sir, if I can't pay the fee, then we'll have to stop the studies. Which all know, we have to definitely support them. But what gives us more satisfaction and, thanks to, of course, everything, as happens through the will of Swami, a place where there was absolutely, not even one graduate today, 14, 15 people are there. Most of them are employed, and the village has really become a little bit different as compared to. And most importantly, the children today who are studying, they all want to come up, and thanks to that one village, 2 more villages are also, we have put some teachers, and we have given some laptops. So we have given some internet connectivity. It's a little difficult to get the connectivity, so we have to give them a Wi-Fi modem also, otherwise they can't use the computer. The teachers are able to teach them because we train the teachers also. And mind you, I think it is only thanks to Bhagawan, because it's very difficult to get teachers, because after 3 years and all, they'll get married, they'll go away somewhere. I always used to wonder, how do we really get the one more teacher? And when we lost all the hopes and we thought, okay, we'll stop this place, so we'll somewhere get a teacher. And this has been going on in that place for the past 13, 14 years. And now I am not at all worried, because it is Swami's problem. It is not my problem. So, to my mind, providing education, providing this type of opportunities, really gives me a very good feeling. And I think that one word of Swami made me do this. In fact, Managing Trustee came to inaugurate it 2.5 years back. Thanks to Swami, we were able to do that Samiti in a place called Palakurchi, which is a very remote place, 60 kilometers from Trichy. Very dry place, and the farmers, their only income is farming, and there's no water. So you can imagine how those people would be. the Samiti was done, constructed, we thought, we should not keep it, we should make use of it. So today, again, we have provided tuition there, and recently we are able to get one teacher for teaching some computers and all that. We are doing some tailoring classes regularly. There is one devotee by name, Jayalakshmi Sayaram. She comes all the way every week. In fact, she lost her husband recently, but then she does it very, very diligently. She comes and she reviews the Bal Vikas class and teaches them also every week. And these people have all become today Bal Vikas students, and they're all doing very well. We would have helped at least 13, 14 people to get self-employed in those places. Very, very small jobs, like, selling some provisions, or selling some, let's say, some breakfast items and lunch items, etc., or even selling some vegetables, providing some carts, wheel carts and all. So some 14, 15 people, and we feel that, we'll be able to provide some self-employment to many more people. For example, recently we actually taught basically how to make jute bags, because jute bags are a little expensive, and it's also today, because of the environment, jute bags are being more used even in the marriages and all that, and they were able to get some small orders, because they're all very, very, very marginal poor people in our opinion, and they need all the help and support from us. Fortunately, this is 75-80 kilometers from our company. So what I did was, to begin with, I spoke to the vice president who's running the show. So I told him, of course, after talking to Mrs. Malika Srinivasan, I said, look, whatever snacks which we are actually giving to the people from the factory, we will ensure these people supply it. And we will supply some healthy snacks, so that the whole problem in any type of skill development is marketing. If you are not able to connect the marketplace to these people, whatever you do will not help, in my opinion. So therefore, you have to connect them, because they don't have the ability to connect to the marketplace. So, this way we were able to connect, and, now we have told them that, instead of actually giving Horlicks, which we were providing, we will actually get this, protein from these ladies, and then give it to the, physically challenged people, these 120 people. And I've assured them that if they are able to give quality products, which so far they've been able to do it for the past 3-4 months, they've been supplying, and if they're able to do it well, continue to do it well, especially this protein and all that, then we said, we will extend it to the parent company, because parent company, Madurai has got a huge number of people. See, fortunately, what we did was, in that place, when we did the Samiti, we also made a small kitchen with some facilities to cook and all that. So for them, there is no rent, there is nothing of that sort. It's so, there's no gas requirement, etc. So everything is broadly taken care of, only the input and the payment. Payment, of course, we ensure that it is paid in the next day of the receipt of the material. So I think, they were themselves telling me they were able to get some more orders from the nearby place. So I've been pushing them. Don't just go to the nearby place, go to the nearby factories also. Tell them that you're supplying to TAFE. I'm sure you will get some more orders. So I think, over a period of time, I'm sure Swami will certainly support us. In fact, your managing trustee said when he came there, he said, Pala Kurichi should become Baba Kurichi. So I think that is somewhere to go, I think. But I think we will slowly, reach that. Swami has made several miracles in that place. It's more of his guidance, his blessing, which we require. But, for those villages, that's required to get that belief on Swami. Can you imagine in that remote place, in and around, there are all are small villages, okay, all are small hamlets within a radius of 2-3 kilometers here, and there are maximum 7, 8, 10 kilometers. And I think there are I don't know the number of samitis. I think it's some 14, 13 samitis are there, out of which 6 or 7 samitis are very active. And when you mean samiti, you will find it's a very, very small hut, and they'll be doing the Bal Vikas class, which is very diligently taught by this Jayalakshmi Sayaram. And these people will teach it to the children. And it's a wonderful thing if you listen to them. So I'm very sure, this place over a period of time will holistically get developed, thanks to, of course, Swami. We did one desilting of some water body, because there's no water there. There's absolutely no water. In the first year, there was no water. First year, I think we did this 2 years back. First year, there was no water. So I was disappointed. So I said, okay, probably Swami felt, that we shouldn't have done this. And I was very disappointed. So, but that is Swami's will. So if he doesn't give, he doesn't give. The second year, there was not much of rain, because that's a very rain-starved area, but there was water. And, I was delighted. And everybody in that village was delighted. I think some 4 or 5 villages or more than that number of villages use that place for taking water from that place. And one lady was telling last time when somebody went there that, when the complete place was dry, and, when she prayed to Swami, next day, the rain came and there was water there. So I think, Swami is there. Swami is there, of course, everywhere, all over the world. Swami is in our heart. But, for the poor people, when it is needed, when he reaches that place, the devotion definitely grows. Because they're all, after all, they have not seen Swami, they don't know who's Swami, they don't know about Sathya Sai's activities and all that. But when they actually, get to know these experiences, they start believing in Swami. I think they are all coming here to serve. Every time, some 20, 30 people, every 6 months and all that, those people come here and serve and go. As you know, Mrs. Malika Srinivasan is a very ardent devotee, and her father is also a great devotee. The entire family, they're all very devoted to Swami. If I remember correctly, it was in 1980 when Mr. Sivasailam was running the show. We started what is called a J Rehab Center in Madurai. Of course, J Rehab is referred to his father, and this was completely managed by physically handicapped people. Completely managed. We do wiring harness and we do some battery cables, and then we do some toolkits, etc. Some 120 physically challenged people are working. His motto was that, look, we should focus on ability, not disability. And that's how we started this. And these ladies are working in a, I would say, absolutely fantastic manner. And today their PPM, whatever they produce, they actually challenge other vendors also. They supply almost 50% of the wiring harness to our company. It's close to 0 ppm. And we support them with calipers, we support them with bus facilities, and we really take care of them. We never bothered about their challenges. We focused on their ability, and they've been contributing significantly. So these are all dharmas in my opinion, which the company has been able to practice over a period of time. In our opinion, we have been doing well only because we have been following Dharma for ages. And of course, Swami has come and blessed this company. So I am sure he will take care of this company. I don't know, you may be aware, Mrs. Malika Srinivasan is the chairman of the Public Sector Board also, which means she is responsible for choosing the chairman, managing director, and the directors of, I think, I don't know how many public sector undertakings, excluding banks and insurance company. I think it's more than 200. She spends, of course, she works from only, 8 o'clock till maybe 1 o'clock in the but she works, 15 hours, 16 hours. In fact, she was jokingly telling me today, when I called her at 3:30, Mohan, you are happily spending the time in Puttaparthi, the divine abode, and I am working till now. She was telling me, okay, that apart. So, she's responsible for it, and she was actually given the extension also. The wealth of the public sector undertakings in the past 3 years have gone up by 47 lakh crores, if I remember the numbers correctly. What she follows is, she follows scrupulously but diligently that no influence can come to her. Whether it is from any ministerial level or any bureaucrat level or any other level, if somebody refers that candidature, then that person or lady will not get selected. So she has been following very, very, very strictly on merit basis, and the entire government, I would say, machinery appreciates her for this purpose. And I think she has done a human service, and she spent, I would say, probably every day, I don't know how many hours she spends, maybe 3 hours or sometimes even 5 hours. The way in which sometimes she travels to Delhi and comes back, it's mind-boggling to me. But I think she has contributed enormously, in my opinion, for the economic development of the country. And that has, I think, helped the country, in my opinion, in a very, very huge manner. During the COVID time, I remember this. He was a senior employee in R&D, and then he retired. Of course, I think he was a vice president or associate vice president. He retired a couple of years back before the COVID, and his entire family got affected with COVID once. And then I believe he was frantic. He didn't know whom to contact. So he contacted my boss, Mrs. Malika Srinivasan, at the mid of the night, some 12:30, 1 o'clock. And you can imagine, 1 o'clock in the night, and that took during COVID time. But she actually immediately contacted the hospital and got the entire family admitted at 2 o'clock immediately in a reputed hospital. And the entire family got, cured of this. And he used to remember this with gratitude that, look, no other company would have done this. An ex-employee and the entire family was taken care of. And similarly, during the COVID time, I remember one hospital which we were in very close touch, and we were admitting several employees. So this doctor rang up to me and he said, look, if the gas doesn't come by 1 o'clock, we are going to lose a lot of patients. And it was such a worrying scenario. And the availability of the gas, as you know, at that time was a very, very huge issue. We connected some 1, 2, 3, 4 sources. And ultimately, when we got the cylinder, there was a huge, basically, queue. There was a huge number of trucks stuck in that place. To move that from that place, I think we would have got that exactly moved 1 hour before the oxygen would have got emptied, and he was extremely thankful to us, basically because otherwise we would have lost several patients there. Maybe one or two TAFE employees themselves would have been there at that time. I don't remember. So that was again another scenario where, of course, without Swami's divine help, nothing is possible. I think it was in 2018, if I remember correctly. She wanted to start a custom hiring scheme for the marginal and small farmers. You may be aware that almost in our country, 68.5% of the 150 million farmers are all marginal farmers who hold only less than 1 hectare of land, and another 20% hold less than 2 hectares, and their income is abysmally poor. They earn less than a lakh per annum, and some of the years they don't even earn any income. So she said, look, we want to start this custom hiring scheme for the benefit of the marginal farmers. What it means is basically, we actually developed an app, connected the farmers who don't have any tractors and the farmers who have tractor and the implements, and they will hire it to them through the digital process. This is how we started. People like us, though we are all Swami devotees, we had some at least I had some reservation, let me put it straight, that look, is it not going to impact our sale itself? Basically because you don't know whether the person who is actually hiring the tractor is going to be marginal farmer or not, because you can't, once you start, you cannot stop it. She was very clear that, look, we want to start it and we want to provide this opportunity to the marginal farmers. Of course, we still don't know, whether some of the larger farmers also use this, but we believe firmly that significant number of marginal farmers use this scheme. And to roll back to present scenario of 2026 April, basically we have cultivated through this scheme 8 crore acres of land. 1.6 crore marginal farmers have been benefited, and 8,000 crore revenue has been generated by the people who have tractors. So in our opinion, we don't know. In the process, probably we could have lost some amount of sales and all that, but we were not concerned, basically because we felt that this is what is giving back to the society. So even though there was a bit of a conflict in our opinion, I would like to give the entire credit to her. She took the bold step of supporting these marginal farmers, and we are all extremely happy, because but for this, I don't think the farmers would have been able to use these tractors and they till the land. So I think it is a huge impact. We will continue to do this. What we do is basically, as I said, digital connectivity between the farmers who have tractors and the farmers who don't have. Along with the implements, we hire it, and it is a very transparent means of without any commission. He pays the only the rent for that using the tractor, and we also allow, mind you, competitive tractors also to be actually tilled. So this is how this one instance which I feel where there is a conflict, but we still felt that we should go ahead and do this. It has benefited hugely in our opinion, basically because our purpose of doubling the farmers' income, which even the country is talking, we were able to play a, I would say, meaningful role, and I think we'll continue to play this meaningful role in the years and decades to come. I think if I'm allowed to switch back to the COVID time, basically when the entire country was basically down, and nobody was even coming out, as she took a bold step of basically giving the tractors free of cost to the marginal farmers. We didn't have any income because there was no production, there was no sale at that time. But then she decided that we will do it for the benefit of the farmers. And this was, of course, no marginal, no small, everybody can use this scheme. So within a period of, I think, 8 days or 9 days, we actually developed a digital app. Right from order booking to order execution, in between, how to track, how to take the photograph, how to geotag, and then get the information so that we pay the right farmer only. And we also ensure that the farmers, the other person has actually, been benefited. We did all this within a period of 1 week to 10 days. Used our people, went to the government. In fact, I remember I went to Tamil Nadu government because I knew the people there. My colleagues went to some other place. So in 3 states, we actually deployed the scheme. And I think we would have spent, if I remember correctly, more than 25 crores when we didn't have any income. So, and I think the government came back and asked us, look, can you please extend the scheme? And we extended the scheme also during the COVID period. But what gave us a huge amount of satisfaction, there was no conflict here, but we were not having the income, but we still wanted to go ahead with this. And everybody in the company were delighted because the amount of response we got from the farmers, how they were saved from the complete destruction of crops, how they were able to till the land and all that. And mind you and me were also able to get the food at that time. And I think we were be able to contribute in a meaningful manner during that COVID period. Of course, we would have done lots and lots of work besides this in getting the people admitted to the hospital. I think Malika Srinivasan was busy every minute admitting the people, and I would have also contacted some hospitals. So we did a lot of good work. I didn't want to get into details, but I think this one scheme, in our opinion, basically helped us tremendously. Not helped us, I would say, gave us immense satisfaction as far as serving the community. There was one dealer in a place called Betaya in Bihar, very remote place. Of course, now it's not a remote place anymore. It's doing well. At that time, it was not so popular, not so big. This person was with us for almost a couple of decades. Suddenly, he had some health issue and he died. So our salesperson went to the dealership and offered his condolences. And the three daughters, young daughters, were there, and one adopted son was there. So when this person was about to leave, they said, look, now how are we going to survive? How are we on? What is the help you will provide us? So this person, as a sales head, he didn't have any authority to commit on behalf of the company, but he went and committed that, look, we'll support you. I will definitely support you. Any other company probably would have happily appointed somebody else, because at that time our brand is any case popular, we would have got a dealership and then continued. But then we decided, because he was with us for a couple of decades, we decided to support this. So we employed exclusively resources again, like the Bulandshahr dealer I spoke, and ensured that till they actually grew up and until they were able to manage, we actually supported them. And the girls were, till they grow up, they were extremely comfortable. And I think because they all got married and went to different places, they left the dealership only 2 years back. So this is another case wherein we felt that we should support the dealership. So our idea of as I told you, the long-term relationship with every fraternity, whether he's a dealer or employee, there's another case which I can talk about it. And another very big dealer, he actually lost his mother. It's way back in 2007, I think, and he had gone on record by saying that, look, any other company would not have supported me, but then the way in which they supported me, the way in which every employee, including the owner, of course, supported me, helped me to overcome the scenario and then do the business. So I think, in a scenario where support is required, definitely we have handled the dealers. As a company, we are, thanks to Swami, of course, thanks to our way of working also, that we have not borrowed. We borrowed only when we acquired the iShare company, but we repaid the loan very quickly. And there was a certain amount of loan when I was there in the beginning, but then we repaid all that. Otherwise, there is no borrowing, and we have a healthy cash reserves. But then, we have to organize what is called channel financing for the dealers in order to enable him to basically fund his inventory. So, I think it was in some 2002 or 2003 when we have cleaned up the books. The bankers came and approached me, why don't you take dealer financing? Several tractor companies are taking it, and you should also take it. It will help you to grow the business, because dealer financing basically helps to grow the share, because it helps him to rotate the money in the marketplace, and he is able to retail it, etc. And therefore it helps us to grow the business. So he came and asked me that, look, why don't you take dealer financing? I'm willing to give you some 50-100 crores. I refused. I refused to take the money at that time. And he was pleasantly surprised. He said, look, when I am giving the two without recourse to TAFE, you are the only CFO who can refuse like this, and why are you refusing money like this from a bank, which would enable you to grow the business? Of course, marketing guys would have been upset at that time, but I still said no. Basically because I realized that, look, there is a huge responsibility back. Even though it is without recourse to TAFE, it is our responsibility to ensure that the dealer pays it promptly on the due date to the bank. And that would not have been possible, in my opinion, at that time, way back in 2002 or 2001, basically because there was a certain amount of stock still in the queue, and therefore we thought that unless it is reduced to the level at which the dealer could really do healthy business, we should not do this channel financing. So we took this money only after 2 years when the stocks were under control, and today I can tell you, several years the bankers have come and told me that the channel financing is not only the best in TAFE, but it is best in the automobile industry. When we were going through a very difficult patch in 1999, and we got out of that in the couple of years, while we would have put some effort and all that, that's a different story. But in my opinion, we would have definitely not gotten out of the situation but for Swami. I don't want to get into details of that, but it was definitely thanks to Swami only. So it was not my way of working or whatever. It was basically Swami's guidance which supported. I think I have faced this. I have felt it in several places. In my working, and I'm always grateful and thankful to Swami for this. Whenever we go out of this, I was telling somebody in the morning also, this exact 2 kilometers, this perimeter, this is a divine place, or 5 kilometers, I don't know. And when you go out of it, then you have a lot of conflicting situations, and it's a wonderful place. In fact, I can only tell you that we envy you for this, because you are always in this divine place, and we know what conflicts we face outside this place. So I think this is a very blessed divine place. While Swami always says he is in your heart, but this is a very a very, I would say, divine experience which you cannot get anywhere, any part of the place, in my opinion. Which you should be fortunate to come here and visit this place any number of times. Whenever, of course, Swami always says, if I don't permit you, you cannot come here. So I think as long as he permits, we'll keep coming here. Today in our country, probably I don't know how many lives we can touch, but then, touch the lives of poor people whom really require your help. Keep serving the poor people, keep helping them. They all need your support. I think, that's the way you get connected to Swami, in my opinion. And I very strongly believe, if each person who can afford, take, 2-3 villages and holistically develop, I think Swami will always bless us. And then you come here and take his blessing, then start your activity. I'm sure he'll be with us. Whatever we are doing is next to nothing. I'm sure several people are doing much bigger things and not talking about it. So we have to keep learning from them and not talk about it, but continue to do your good work is, my humble, let's say, prayer to Swami. To my mind, it gives a humble feeling that, look, that we are in a position to do something to the poor people, and Swami should permit us to do something more than what we are doing today. Be humble, keep your feet on the ground, treat everybody equally. Don't think that you are so-and-so. Because as Swami says, nobody will respect you when you lose your title and all that. So don't get carried away by what your position or title is. So I think that enables you. That all comes basically because you are connected to Swami. And more importantly, I'd like to pray to Bhagawan and do the things in the right manner, of course.